So coming to our comfortable seated upright position. Oh, there we have someone new coming in. Welcome. Make sure you mute yourself. And let's go ahead and relax the shoulders. Take a few breaths. Let's begin to settle in to the sensations of our body. The easiest and I believe quickest way to do this is to simply embody ourselves right here. Meaning, allow yourself to feel the earth below you supporting you. Feel what it feels like to be within this shell. The sensations on your skin. The movement of your body as you inhale and exhale. The sensation of the air coming in through the nostrils and out the nostrils. The darkness behind the eyelids. Taking in any smells around you. Any sounds around you. And be completely present with this material form that we inhabit. And then let's allow ourselves to become aware of our emotional state. How are we feeling today? What resonates within us this morning? And much in the same way we went through the physical, material aspects of our existence, we also want to do that with our emotional state. Trying not to classify any particular emotion as positive or negative. Just simple awareness of that is the emotion or the feeling that is rising up within me this morning. And finally, checking in with our mind, our thoughts, our stories, our experiences that play around like movie reels within the mind. Just like with our emotions, we want to try to not classify our thoughts as positive nor negative. Just simple awareness. These are the thoughts that are arising within me this morning. Are they lingering thoughts from yesterday or last week? Or are they fresh and new from after you woke up this morning? Are the thoughts attached to any particular feeling or emotion? And do they manifest physically in your body in some way? And then gently as we exhale, bringing our awareness back towards our physical bodies, let's go ahead and exhale, release chin towards chest. Take a deep breath, lift up through the rib cage, but keep the chin tucked under as you roll the shoulders back and down, creating space in the torso. As we stretch the back of the neck, maybe you can add a little bit of movement side to side. Chin going towards left shoulder, Chin going towards right shoulder. And then coming back to center, blinking the eyes open, awareness into our space. Inhale, lift the chin. We'll open our space of practice with one sound, Om. So exhaling, bringing the palms together. Inhale for Om. Beautiful. We're going to come to a standing position and start our practice today, standing. So if you have a block, when we do our Surya Namaskar, I will give you the option to chaturanga so that your chest can come down to your block. So try to use the block if you have a hard time doing your sun salutations. So just come off your mat and go ahead, come to the top of your mat, and you can just place the block in front of your toes if you're going to be using it. Relax your arms down by your sides, relax your shoulders. Nice drawing in through the lower abdomen and pressing down with your pelvis or with your tailbone. And then inhale, let's draw the arms up. And as we draw the arms up, we look up towards the sky. So here is a full body stretch. You're grounding your feet into the floor, you're reaching your fingertips up, and then imagine you want your elbows to come in towards each other, kind of hugging the shoulder blades around the torso. Look up and lengthen. Exhale, slowly forward fold, drawing in through the belly, hinging from the hips. And now for this first one, soften your knees a little bit, bring your hands to the block. So you can bring your hands to the block, and this way you have a place to support yourself with. If you're a little bit more flexible, maybe bringing the hands to the floor might be an option. But for now, don't push yourself. Just bring the hands to the block, get the knees soft. Imagine reaching the tailbone up. Start to find that stretch into the glutes and into the backs of the legs. And once you're there, let the head relax. So the elbows soften, the shoulders soften, the belly draws in tight. And then there's kind of this extension from the tailbone all the way to the top of the head. Inhale, press your hands into the block and see if you can straighten your legs as you roll your weight forward to the balls of your feet. Keep pulling in through the lower belly, pull the shoulders back and away, and create space here in your spine, lengthening your entire spine, tailbone to top of your head. And then exhale, release. Now you can bend your knees more, plant your hands on the floor, and slowly walk or step your feet back. So the block remains kind of somewhere in between your hands. They're probably at the level of your thumbs, coming into your high plank. As you exhale, it's chaturanga, and lower the chest to the block. So the chest comes down, it's going to hold you. From here, release the knees down, point the toes, separate your feet a little bit, and then inhale, see if you can press up, releasing the knees off the floor, lifting the chest, shoulders back. You can look forward or you can look up. This is our upward facing dog. And then exhale, start to lift up through the hips, roll the toes under, and then just kind of adjust your feet, keeping your hands glued right there next to the block. Let the head lengthen, let the spine be long, belly's drawn in, tailbone up, pulling in through your mula bandha so your pelvic floor is engaged, and steady breathing. Make your downward facing dog active. So as you're holding here, you're pressing strong through fingers and knuckles. You're drawing your heels towards the earth, even if they don't touch. You're moving your torso through that space between your arms towards your thighs. And your gaze is at the tip of your nose. One more breath, inhale. Exhale. And slowly look forward towards the block. Go ahead and tiptoe or walk your feet all the way up so your toes are right behind the block like they were before. Inhale, you can bring your hands back to the block, maybe even just the fingertips or the palms. It's up to you. Extend your body. And then exhale, fold again. Maybe this time you find a little bit more room and bringing your hands to the floor is a little bit more accessible. Keep rolling the weight forward, drawing in through belly, top of the head reaches towards the block. And then slowly soften your knees. Inhale, arms coming all the way up, creating that same length and stretch, palms together, elbows towards each other, look towards your thumbs. Exhale, back to Samastitihi. Samastitihi is our equal standing pose. This is where we start our Surya Namaskar. So let's do that one more time. Inhale, arms coming up. Reach up, stretch, look up towards thumbs, stretch and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Hinging from hips, hands to the block or to the floor, head relaxes. Roll the weight forward, belly in. Inhale, create space. Keep your hands on the block as you extend, shoulders roll back, looking forward. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands on the floor right next to your block. Walk or step your feet back to your high plank. Find your high plank where your weight is forward, shoulders over wrists, belly drawn in, you're on your toes, or you can bring your knees down. Exhale, let's chaturanga. Lower the elbows or bend the elbows, lower the chest towards the block. Hold here and breathe. So this is our low plank. When we don't have the block, we hold this with just the strength of our shoulders and back. Now inhale, release the knees, point the toes, press up, and then lift the legs to come into your upward facing. Opening heart, lifting chest. Try not to squeeze through your glutes or your legs, but instead draw in through your belly. Engage into your Mula Bandha. Exhale, roll over the toes, hips up. Walk the feet in just enough so that you can find yourself in the stable position, and then breathe here. The downward facing dog gives us an opportunity to check in with our bodies. So while you're here in your downward facing dog and you've gone through the checklist of everything you need to engage and press and lengthen, then allow your breath to lead you through kind of the entire system. Not just your physical body, but like we did in the beginning of class, your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your breath, your emotions. Bring that into your practice. Be aware. And don't judge. Don't try to analyze or excuse in any way. Simply notice. This is how I feel. This is the recurring thought that's been playing in my mind. And then inhale, looking forward between the hands. Again, walk, tiptoe, or step your feet back to the back of the block, toes touch. Inhale, lengthen. You can keep fingertips on floor or bring them back to the block. Exhale, release again. Surrender here, rolling the weight forward. And soften your knees. Inhaling, arms coming up, all the way, extend. Lengthen, palms together, look up. Exhale, back down to Samastitihi. Okay, now we're gonna go to Surya Namaskar B. We'll only do one set. So I think you can keep the block there. It might get in the way when we step forward. Let's see. All right, Surya Namaskar B, you bend your knees to begin. So imagine you wanna reach your fingertips down to the floor. Bend your knees as much as you can, using your thigh muscles, drawing in through your lower belly and sitting your hips down. Now once you're down, inhale, lift up through the arms, look up towards the thumbs. Shoulders roll back into their sockets, knees press against each other. Exhale, hands come to the block or to the floor, and the hips can lengthen as you reach the top of the head down, knees and nose towards each other. And then inhale, lengthen spine. Again, that flattening of the back, really important. We use that length in our practice, so we extend it here. And then go ahead and bend your knees, plant your hands, step or walk your feet back. Coming into your chaturanga. If you've been doing this on your knees, try it with straight legs. Rest your chest on the block. Inhale, upward facing. Or cobra. You can also do cobra here on the floor, trying to lift your chest off the floor. And then exhale, downward facing. So in Surya Namaskar B, we do a warrior one, which means we're going to take that right foot forward. Now, just plant it right behind the block. You don't need to move the block. Press the left heel down onto the floor, and then inhale, slowly come up. So let's take our time to set up our warrior one. Bending the right knee. You want to kind of feel there's an openness of this left hip, but at the same time, you're pressing down through that knee. And then I rotate the chest to face forward. You can bring your hands to prayer. You can have your hands on your hips, or you can extend your arms up, looking up towards sky. Exhale. Hands to the floor. Right foot steps back, coming back to our high plank. Chaturanga, or knees down, chest down. Inhale, cobra, or upward facing. Try your upward facing, because now that we have the block, it gives us a little bit of lift. Exhale, downward facing. And then let's do the left side. So right heel pivots to the floor, left foot somewhere on the back behind that block on the left side. And then inhale, come up. Setting it up the same way, hands at waist or in prayer, sitting down strong into that left knee. And then we rotate the shoulders to face forward. Inhaling, arms up, looking up, drawing in through belly, keep sitting down. Send the hips down, arms up, chest up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step the left foot back. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale down. Let's hold this one for 5 breaths. So in Surya Namaskara B, it moves a little quicker and you might start to find your breath is a little bit more labored here now after doing that. Slow it down. Deepen the inhale. Deepen the exhale. Keep drawing in through navel and engaging into pelvic floor. And with the next inhale breath, look forward, tiptoe or walk your feet to the back of your block, top of your mat. Lengthen through spine, again using block or just keeping hands on the floor. And then exhale, release. Then we bend the knees to come out, bending the knees. Inhale, come up into Utkatasana, our chair pose, looking towards thumbs. And exhale, Samastitihi. Good. So if you'll notice, just those 3 vinyasas, excuse me, start to build up some heat within the body. So we're going to continue with a little bit of stretch into the hamstrings. You can move the block away. Separate your feet about hip width apart. And go ahead and fold, hinging from the hips, folding over. So sometimes if we have really tight hamstrings, folding over is really hard. And so you'll have 2 options. You'll either only fold to a certain place, or you'll have to bend your knees. So bend your knees if that's you, and then let your body rest over your thighs. This is hinging from the hips. We don't want to hinge from the middle back, because then it's not going to be possible for us to reach here. So the more you can bend your knees, get your rib cage against your thighs, the easier it will be for you to grab your big toes. So then once you have your big toes, at this point, you can start to work on lengthening the tailbone up. And it may not go up very easily. And I know when you see, the teacher doing something in a particular way, you're like, okay, but that's not my body. I know. But what I'm trying to do is demonstrate that even with the bent knees, your back is straight. And then as you pull, not just with the toes, but as you pull, imagine the string attached to your tailbone, and the tailbone is lifting, 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 lifting. And then you're still extending with your upper body down. So if you're holding onto your toes, you can pull your upper body down and then let your head hang. So your Uttanasana, that's not Uttanasana, your Padangusthasana might look something like this. That's okay. This is a good Uttanasana. Eventually, your hips will come all the way up towards the sky, and you'll find a little deeper stretch into the backs of your legs. Wherever you are today, it's okay. Make sure you are indeed grabbing your toes if possible. And then inhale, lengthen up halfway. So this is our halfway lift. We hold here, we exhale, we release, and now we're going to try to step on the feet. So take your whole left hand, place it underneath the left foot. Take your whole right hand, place it underneath the right foot. If you can't get the hand underneath, again, bend your knees. This way it'll be more accessible. And then exhale and fold. The fold here is drawing the elbows out, drawing the belly in, reaching top of the head down, and reaching and stretching the tailbone up towards the sky as we roll the weight forward ever so slightly, putting a little bit more weight into the wrists with the big toes and with the balls of the feet. And then inhale, lengthen through spine, create your sense of space here. Keep a little softness in the knees if possible, if you need to. And then slowly release the hands and slowly roll yourself up, coming to center. Okay, we're gonna do one more series of standing postures. Stepping the right foot back, big step. We're gonna pivot our whole body to face the right. Okay, so our whole body is facing to the right side. Right toes pointing right, left heel pulling away. Open your arms, extend them out like a T. And then we're gonna hinge into this right hip. So when we come into Trikonasana, this is Utthita Trikonasana, you wanna allow yourself to reach forward with your right fingertips, reach back with your left hip as you hinge into this right hip. Now, you may need a block for this one. So go ahead and grab it if it's not too far. Place it on the pinky toe side of your right foot. And then as you reach, extend, go ahead and bring right hand to that block and the left hand up towards the sky. So your goal here, if you were to see this posture sideways, I'll try without the mat here, hopefully I don't slip too much, is you want to keep your body centered. So you don't want to be leaning forward but back, but instead keep your body centered. Your right hand can stay on the block. It doesn't matter if it's on the floor or not. And then you're rotating your torso. So if there was two panes of glass, I wouldn't be breaking through the front one and the back one with my butt and the front glass with my head. You want to be in alignment with your body. This makes the posture a little bit harder. And then inhale, slowly come up, bring your block with you, and then we'll do the other side. So same thing on the other side, we just pivot your feet, align yourself with the front of your mat now, put your block down, set your arms up, arms strong, hinging from this left hip, pulling that right hip back, reaching forward with left arm, left hand comes down to block, right arm goes up towards sky. Line yourself up so that you're not leaning forward, and be mindful of that right shoulder too. So if that right shoulder is bothering you, usually it means two things. You're overstretching, moving it back, which is unnecessary. The posture here calls for straight arms, right arm reaching up towards sky, and then the left arm down towards the floor. There should be a length and a straightness in your spine. Good, that looks amazing. Yes, beautiful. Open the chest, reach up, keep drawing in through belly, strong legs, there should be no bend in the knees. And then exhale, slowly come up, bring your block with you. Okay, now we're gonna go for our twisted one. So place the block either on the big toe side of the foot, that'll be easier, or the pinky toe side of the foot, that'll be a little bit harder. The legs are in the same distance, both legs straight. Take your right hand to waist and bring your left hand to the block. So here is a rotation that happens in the torso. My block is low, but you can have yours a little bit higher if that makes it a little bit more accessible for you. And then once the rotation is found, take that right arm up and look up towards right thumb. Allow the breath to move effortless through the body and don't force that right shoulder. Keep drawing in through belly as you rotate and twist. And exhale, right hand down, pick up the block, inhale, come back, switch your feet. So other side, go ahead and place the block down, whichever side of the foot you think you can do today. Let's bring left hand to waist, right hand to the block. So we're twisting the torso. This is important. You're not bringing that left shoulder down. Twist the left shoulder up and then lift up and look up towards left hand. Opening through heart. Both legs are straight. There's no bend in the knees. Keep drawing in through lower belly and push into the floor, into your block with your right arm to give you leverage to twist a little bit deeper. And exhale, slowly release. Grab the block, come up. Okay, 2 more. Bend into right knee, place the block down on the floor. So for this first one, place the block on the outside of the foot, maybe take a little bigger step. Bend into right knee, just like you're going into a lunge. Bring your right hand down to the block. So what happens here a lot of times is that it's easier to keep our hips elevated the way mine are now. So your challenge here is going to be to lower those hips down, down, down towards the floor as much as you can. And then we extend the left arm so that the left side of the body is a nice diagonal line. It's not straight up to the ceiling and it's not down over your head, but an extension of your left leg and left side torso. Keep pressing strong into right hand. You might need to adjust your block, make it a little lower or a little higher. And inhale slowly, gently grab your block, come up. We'll do the other side. Block comes down, bend into that left knee, left hand onto the block, sit those hips down, press the right foot firmly into the floor, and right arm becomes an extension of your right side body. Now your gaze, your drishti, should be towards your right fingertips, but if that bothers your neck at all, just look down underneath your right armpit. Using the breath to lengthen and press, and then exhale, slowly release. Grab your block, slowly come up. Last one. Go ahead and bend your left knee, bring it to the floor. We're going for our twist. So what we do here, you can either use the block, but we're actually not going to use it today. We're going to just bring our hands to prayer. Set up so that you're going into your low lunge, like your twist, your kneeling lunge. And then come up and take a moment to balance. Press forward through hips. Lengthen up through chest and rib cage. And when you're ready, take that left elbow outside of the right knee. Press your palms together. Start rotating through your torso. Lift through your chest as you pull your right shoulder back. Find your twist. And then you can gaze forward for balance, or you can look back towards the extended right elbow behind you. Breathe steady, hips forward and down. Exhale deeper into your twist. And slowly come back to center. Straighten that left leg. Use your strength. Come up. Other side. So bend right knee. Come down. You don't need the block for this one. Set yourself up, low lunge here. Maybe a little bit of adjustment into left foot. When you're ready, right elbow outside that left knee. Needs to be on the outside. On the inside, you don't have leverage. On the outside, you can use it to pull your body through. Palms together, hips forward and down. Press the palms as you open left shoulder, and then look back past your left shoulder or left elbow. If gazing back messes with your balance, just look forward, or you can even look down. Kind of decide what feels good for your neck. Play with different gazes so that you can see what fits better for you today. Traditionally, we'd look back. Draw in through elbow or through the shoulders, and then exhale. Let's go ahead and release. Tuck right toe under, straighten leg, shorten the distance a little bit, and gently come up. Come back to Samastitihi, to our standing posture. So those are the first few postures of our Ashtanga method, and we'll keep working on them. As you can see, when we break them down, they're not as difficult. When we do them all at the same time, they can be very tough. All right, let's go for a little bit of hip and thigh stretching. So let's see, grab a block, come to the hands and knees. And take a moment to arrive onto your hands and knees, strong fingers, protract shoulders, maybe roll weight forward and back. Every time we move or transfer from a standing to a seated to a all fours type of position, just take a moment to settle into it. Maybe side to side with your hips. And then let's do a couple of cat and cows. Looking up, inhaling and looking down, exhaling. Moving through the body with as much ease and effortlessness as you can. One more. Good. And then slowly coming to center. All right, so we're gonna start with that 50-50 split. So go ahead and take your right knee forward and sit your right hip down, bend your back leg. So right now with our knees pulled in towards the body, or feet pulled in towards the body, should be pretty comfortable to sit this way. If it's not, be mindful of your left hip. You might want to put something like I think the block would be too high to put there, but maybe a rolled up towel or something like that. Always have stuff nearby you that you can use to help set yourself up. And then we're going to open that right knee. So the right knee is at a 90-degree angle. The foot is on the floor. My right knee doesn't quite touch the floor yet, but when I adjust, it does. If yours doesn't, place a block underneath the knee so that you have support there. And then we rotate and open that left foot, also a 90-degree angle at that knee. So see, when I do this and I turn, my right knee comes down. But if it were not to, you do want to have support underneath it. Two reasons primarily is when the knee is in this open state, it is kind of vulnerable to injury. So when it's in a closed state, that knee can be up off the floor and it's fine, it's protected. But when it's in this open state, if that knee is up, it's putting a lot of unnecessary strain. So you want to make sure that to have something there to support you. Also, the pose itself, the floor is the support. So if your knee is up in the air, then there's nothing to support it. So putting something underneath is bringing the floor to you. Now, a lot of different things might happen to that back hip. You want to kind of keep your body leaning a little bit to the right to give that left leg some room. As you feel ready, start to kind of come forward, making little adjustments along the way. Possibly maybe bring right elbow down to the floor next to your right knee, and maybe even the left elbow can come down. If they don't come down, staying on your hands is totally okay. Just leaning forward as you keep your hands on the floor. We're just gonna hold this for maybe about, 6 to 10 breaths. We've already been here a little bit. If you've been on your hands for a while and you think, let me try bringing my elbows down, give it a try. You won't know until you try whether your body's capable of it or not. So you're resting your rib cage on top of your right thigh. And breathe easy. You'll have points of resistance. So for me, my point of resistance is this left hip. It keeps wanting to pull up. It will not allow, my left hip does not allow itself to relax down. So that's my point of resistance. And so what I do is I breathe into that left hip. I draw in through my belly to engage a little bit more into my core and take some of the weight off the hip and some of the tightness away. And then I start to kind of center myself and allow myself to come down with ease. And when I reach that point of resistance again, I stop, I breathe, and I let myself be just exactly where I am. There's no better place to be. If there was, that's where you would be. So this is exactly where you need to be. Keep that right foot flexed so that that top shin is lined up with the top of your mat. One more breath. And slowly come up. Okay, we're gonna continue on with this side before we do the other side. So now, keeping that right leg, close the knee joint of the right leg, but keep it forward, and then pivot yourself so that you are on your left knee. So some of us have nice open, beautifully open hips, and we can bring the right butt cheek to the floor. Some of us, that's not a possibility yet. So that's where we use our props. You want to tie or slide a blanket or your block underneath the right hip so that your right hip is supported. So really all the block does is bring the floor up to us so that it can meet us where we are. Your left leg is engaged back, and what we're going to do is I like to bring my hands onto these fists, kind of thumbs down into the floor. But if you have access to palms down, you can do that too. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to straighten that left leg, contract, and then slowly lower it down. So again, straighten that left leg, contract so the kneecap comes off the floor, and slowly lower it down. Let's do it one more time. Straighten into that left leg, lift the rib cage, lift the chest, press the top of the foot into the floor, and slowly lower it down. Beautiful. Right hand goes on the inside of that right knee. If you need a block here to help lift you a little bit more, you're welcome to put a block underneath your right hand and just turn around and bring your left hand to your thigh. Look towards your left foot. Make sure that your foot isn't folding one way or another, but just pointing straight back instead. If possible, bend your left knee and slide your hand towards your foot. So just hold there with holding onto the foot, not have to pull or do anything, just simply hold. Notice where your resistance is. It's very important, it's very telling where we find our resistance. And then if possible, maybe pull the foot to the glute and release. This is a stretch for our left quadricep. You might feel it there. Also for our left hip flexor and the psoas muscle. I always talk about the psoas because I have very tight psoas. So I think it's useful for us to work with that muscle. It's deep inside and it kind of connects from underneath your sit bones and all the way up into your obliques and sides of your body. Very long, important, and useful muscle in our yoga practice. And then let's hold. So once you've opened and closed a few times, try to pull that foot in as close as you can and hold. Keep your right arm strong, pressing into the floor. If you're getting tired with your right hand, remember you can use a block or you can release your grip and just press your palm down to the floor instead. Or maybe even come to your fingertips, whatever you need to do. Just keep that right arm engaged. Good. And then maybe look back towards that left foot. Sometimes when we look back, it tends to come closer to us. So you can try that. Draw it in towards you. And then exhale, let's look forward, look away from the foot. Keep pulling that foot in towards you. And exhale. Let's release that left leg all the way to the floor. Hands on either sides of your feet, of your right knee. And then let's dip that left hip down. Just dip it down and come back up. One more time. Left hip dips down and come back up. Last one. Left hip dips down towards that left foot. That means your right hip is coming off your block. And come back up. Tuck that left toe under. Straighten that left leg. Slide the right leg back. You can take a moment here on all fours just to kind of realign yourself. Tuck the toes under and press to your downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Sway out the hips, sway out the knees, bend and straighten the knees. Before we do the other side, let's go for an easy twist here. So bring your weight to your left hand, take right hand to left ankle, and turn and twist your body, pulling your body through. Strong left arm. Use your fingers and knuckles. Look out from underneath left armpit. Exhale, come back to center. Right hand down. Feeling the strength in both arms. Bring weight to the right hand and left hand to outside of your right ankle. Turn and twist, rotate your body. And looking out from underneath your right armpit, feel rotation in torso. And exhale, come back to center. One more time, downward facing dog. Slowly bring the knees down. Okay, we're ready for the other side. So we're gonna have the block on the left side of the body. Bring the left knee forward. Actually, we don't need the block just yet. We're doing the 50-50 first. Sit the hips down and open that left leg. Maybe I should turn. Open that left leg. And again, if there's a space here, that's okay. Once you sit up, that's when you get to decide. So left foot is flexed, shin is lined up with the top of your mat. Right leg opens out and we rotate our torso. So if your knee comes down here, you don't need anything underneath it. If there's a little bit of space that's too much for a block or too little for a block, place a towel or a blanket there, something softer, small object, even a short, small book. And then slowly start to kind of lean your weight forward. So it kind of depends on your body where the resistance happens. And just because you felt resistance in one place on one side, doesn't mean you're going to feel it on the other side, and vice versa. So again, each time we go into the posture, we come in with an open heart and an open mind that things are going to maybe feel slightly different. And then slowly, maybe bringing that left elbow to the floor, seeing how that happens, and allowing that right elbow to come down. See, on this side, my right elbow doesn't quite make the floor, so I just rest it on my shin, or on the inside of my right calf, or left calf, sorry. And then we breathe here. Try to rest your rib cage against your left thigh the most you can. And we allow the breath to move us into the discomfort without struggle. So that's really the trick, is finding the posture, settling into our limitations, realizing if we need to back off or if we have a little bit more wiggle room to go deeper, making those choices along the way. You don't want to decide ahead of time. And even if you decide ahead of time, your body will teach you different. So it's better to just allow yourself to move into your postures with an open heart and open mind, that whatever will happen is exactly what was meant to, and feel gratitude for that. Keep drawing in through belly and keep allowing your body to rest over that left thigh. Maybe that right elbow can start to slide down a little deeper if yours isn't on the floor like mine is. Whenever you're in postures that are not particularly comfortable, you might want to calm your breathing. So bring awareness to the depth of the inhale and the length of the exhale. And hold just a few more breaths, settling in. And slowly inhale, pressing the hands into the floor, coming back to that seated position. Notice maybe it's easier to be up here after being down. And then we're going to close that left knee joint. That's going to protect the knee. And we're going to extend that right leg back and come into that lifted position. So now is the point where if your left hip is way off the floor, the way mine is, you want to allow your left hip to rest on an object, whether that's your yoga block or a cushion or a pile of books, whatever it is. And then let's just bring the hands to the floor. Fingertips can be on the mat, or you can use your fists like we did on the other side. Kind of center the weight of your hips so that your left hip is on the floor, but your right hip is equal to it. And just take a few breaths here. Realigning, recentering. And then we'll bring that left hand to the inside of that left knee and just reach around. Find your right thigh, look over towards your right foot. Notice your right foot's pointing straight back, not twisted at the ankle. And then when you're ready, bend into that right knee, slide the hand up, find your right foot. And then once you have it, just take a few moments without any movement, just to hold on. If you can't reach the right foot, this is tough, but maybe you can find your ankle or your calf. Usually if you can find your ankle or your calf, you can probably slide up towards the foot. And your left hip is still supported here by the block, but don't dump your weight to the left. Try to keep that right hip heavy. And then let's start to move. Just easy movement. Pulling the foot in, extending the foot out. Pulling it in, extending it out. And you can look back towards the foot or you can look down You can look forward. Really, your gaze is just going to depend on where it's more comfortable for you. Couple more movements here. Each time you pull in, really feel that in your quad and into your right hip flexor. Remember that psoas muscle we were talking about earlier. Feel it in there. It's like a levy pull all the way from your knee up into your oblique. And then let's hold the next one in. Pull it in, hold it in. Maybe look back towards your right foot. I just find that when I look back, I can pull it in a little bit closer, even if it's just in my own mind. But that's okay. Wherever you feel like you can pull that foot in closer, one day the heel touching into your butt. Maybe you're already touching your butt. I don't know. I can't really see. You guys are very little out there in the little corner. But if it's not, one day, maybe it will. This lifetime, next lifetime, whenever. Just hold it in. And then again, pressing into that left arm so that left shoulder is down and away from the ear. Try not to sink into that left shoulder. Push up, lift the rib cage. Draw that foot in towards the body. Hold. Hold your stretch. Hold to the point where you can breathe and it's uncomfortable, but you can hold. It's doable. It's accessible. A few more breaths here. And slowly let's exhale. Lower that leg down to the floor. Come back through to center. And then we're going to try that right leg lift. So line yourself up, palms or fists down onto the floor. And straighten that right leg. Hold. Exhale, right knee down. Let's do that 2 more times. Press the top of the right foot into the floor. Lift the right knee up by straightening into that right leg. Hold. Keep the left hip down onto your prop. And lower down. Last one. Lift up and hold. Squeeze. Chest lifted. And lower down. Good. And now we're just going to do that slight dip of the right hip. Here I like to come to my hands. Slight dip down with the right hip. Just lower that right hip down. And back up to center. So when you dip the right hip down, your left hip comes off of your prop. So now your left hip isn't touching your prop. And back up to center. One more time. Dip it down. Back up to center. Good. And then slowly let's slide that left leg back. You can come back to all fours. Take a moment on all fours to notice how everything feels. We're going to do something nice and symmetrical here in a moment, but tuck the toes under, press the hips up, and find your downward facing dog. Easy, steady breath. One more twist before we come to the floor. So in this downward facing dog, keep reaching your chest towards your thighs. Keep the length of your spine. Just take your weight to your left foot and take your right foot over on the outside of your left foot. So you're kind of rotating and twisting through that right side body. Keep pushing back, so don't allow your weight to come forward. Pulling and pushing back. And then exhale, bring the right foot back to center, and then we'll do the other side. So in that same downward facing dog, just take the left foot to the outside of the right foot. Find your twist and stretch the left side body. Keep pushing your weight back. And exhale, back to center. Go ahead and bring the knees to the floor. Keep the knees together, big toes together. Sit back onto the heels or place something underneath in between your calves and your thighs to help support you. And then lower your forehead to the floor. Balasana. Rest here. Few more breaths, steady rhythmic breathing. And slowly inhale, walk the hands up, come to your kneeling position. We're going to do one version of pranayama here. So let's do our Agnisada. This is the one where we draw in the breath and we hold the breath in, we retain the breath as we move into the belly. So let's let the hands rest on the knees, shoulders back, deep inhale. Fill up the belly with your inhale. So Buddha belly here, expand. And full exhale, contract. Hold the breath out and just pump the belly in and out. Not breathing. Holding breath. And exhale. Let's do that 2 more times. Keep your gaze down towards the tip of your nose or somewhere by your knees to keep your neck long behind you. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Keep the breath out, retain, and pump the belly. Inhale. Full exhale. Last round. Inhale. Exhale and retain. Pump. Inhale. Slowly exhale, release your hands. Cross your feet behind you and just slide them forward so you can come to your laying down supine position. As soon as you're down on the floor, bring the knees into the chest, roll around a couple times. If you have any posture that you feel like your body needs today, you don't need to know the name of it, just go into it. A couple of options are halasana with the feet up over the head, legs up the wall using a block or a cushion underneath your hips to help you elevate your legs. That's another good one that people like to rest in. I love this one. A supported bridge perhaps, or not supported bridge, using the block or your own strength to lift your hips and relax into your shoulders. Or if you're not using the block, you're definitely using more of your legs and you can press your arms into the floor as well. What else? Happy baby is another one you might like to end with. Grabbing a hold of the sides of your feet and then lifting your heels up, finding your stretch here. This is a nice even posture. So I recommend even postures. If a twist is absolutely necessary for you here, fine, but go ahead and do both sides. So I'll let you decide which one of those fits for you. We'll hold for maybe about 2 minutes or so. This is our wind down. I'm gonna go into my legs up the wall because this is heaven for me. But you decide what feels like heaven for you. You can also do this against an actual wall where the legs are supported by the wall. And let's actually here start our rest by closing the eyes. Wherever you are, halasana, maybe even shoulder stand, if you wanted to do shoulder stand. Legs up the wall, happy baby, bridge, any variation therein. Feel a deep connection to your breath. Your breath inseparable from your existence. Let it be calm, steady, rhythmic. And then wherever you are, in whatever position you chose to be in, let's start to make our way out of it. As you make your way out of that posture, be very meticulous with each movement you're making. Very conservative with the amount of energy. It's not a big movement. They're very small, precise, specific movements. And slowly, if you are using a prop, you may remove it from underneath you and then go ahead and lay all the way flat onto your back, relaxing the head and shoulders, relaxing the arms down by your sides, palms facing up, relaxing the legs so that the feet and legs are apart. Relax your back muscles so that your chest doesn't feel any tension. Slowly and gently, with the next exhale, let's begin to add a little bit of movement to the fingers and the toes. Bringing awareness back to this physical form, back to our steady breathing, back to the sensations of the body, the temperature of the air around you on your skin, the smells, the sounds in the room that you're in. And then slowly bend your knees, separate your feet pretty wide, a little bit wider than your hips, and then let your knees rest towards each other. Let your hands come to your belly or to your heart. And just add a few more moments here of stillness. Your legs perfectly supported. Any tension that you might have found before has totally softened, released, and let go. And then exhale, let's slowly, gently roll over onto the right side. Use your right arm for a pillow. Rest here for a breath or two, stacking your knees. Inhale, press into your top arm. Slowly make your way up to seated. Once you're up and seated, take a moment to find your cross-legged position. We'll bring our hands to prayer, allowing all of the benefits of our practice to seep in, to sink into our psyche and into the depths of our body, our spirit, our mind. And we'll seal all of these benefits with one sound, Om. Exhale to prepare. Inhale for Om. Namaste.